Hi, I'm so excited to welcome you back to the Coffee Man Podcast Season 2. I'm your host, Sasha Šestić, coffee entrepreneur, World Barista champion, and also the coach of 5 WBC finalists, including the first female WBC champion, Agnieszka Rojewska, and also just recently, the first African WBC finalist, Martin Shabaya. In this season, I've sat down with extraordinary guests to talk everything coffee competitions. You will learn from my experiences and the mistakes as we share the valuable lessons we've learned on the way towards the world stage. If you've ever been intrigued by what happens before the world stage, where to start, and how to get there, you are in the right place. So wherever you are in the world, sit back with a cup of coffee, drive carefully, or even take us with you on your end run and enjoy conversation with us. Once again, welcome. All right, good afternoon or good morning, wherever you are. This is Sasha Šestić, your host of the Coffee Man Podcast, Season 2, and a final episode and for the Season 2. And yeah, I'm so excited to be able to actually have this unbelievable guest, one of the most humble people I've met in a coffee, most caring people, and yeah, of course, our world barista champion, Diego Campos. Diego, welcome to the Coffee Man Podcast.
Sasha, thank you very much. Thank you for your invitation. Thank you to everyone who is listening us. It's a pleasure for me being here. It's kind of a dream being talking to a World Barista champion, which is like something really special for me. Thank you for that.
Pleasure. I'm looking forward, talking to you. I've been lucky to meet you in 2015 for the first time, and noticed your hard work. You're just, as I mentioned, like even when people work a lot under pressure, you can kind of see the true personality. And you had a lot of pressure when you were competing in 2015 or 16, I believe. But 15, that's right, in Colombia. And but I just loved. I loved your personality. I loved, what you stand for, the care for other people as well. We'll discuss your coffee journey today and your competition journey, because that's what the season is about. But yeah, this is kind of maybe a bit of a trailer for everyone that's listening that's not maybe familiar with Diego as not only as a champion, but prior to the champion. They're definitely one of the most humble people I've met. And I think you kind of draw that energy around you to, to show all of us how important it is to be down to earth. I know you're currently in your farm, sitting there, which is really nice. Maybe you can show us a little bit around the farm. If there we go, beautiful. Oh wow, that looks unbelievable.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so nice. Great. So Diego, tell me, while we're at it, tell me a little bit about your farm and about your project.
Wow, Diamante Coffee Farm is located in the Huila department in Plata municipality at 1,950. It's a project that comes through us because my father-in-law wanted to come back to Colombia because we were living in Australia with my wife. So after 2017, I decided to just leave the competition, and I didn't want to spend more time, money, and everything by the competition. So I decided to move to Australia because my wife was studying English in there. So I went to Australia to visit her, and I ended up working as a barista in small cafes. But my father-in-law is a farmer. He's a coffee farmer here in Colombia, and he proposed us to get a partnership with this farm. So he has the 50%, and me and my wife we have the other 50. So we working together. So he's teaching us how to work in a coffee farm, and then my wife and I are trying to put all our knowledge with coffee into the process. And what we're doing now is just kind of get better at the coffee or improve the quality by the process, and just kind of complement the process by using our like barista skills.
Yeah.
It's a farm. It's just seven hectares.
7 hectares. Great. Well, yeah, looking forward tasting some of the coffees from there soon. So yeah, I've been following your work on on social, and to be honest, it's quite impressive to see baristas and you have been barista for many years. You have competed in the world championships for quite a few years, but it's been impressive to be able to see baristas going back to the farm and actually growing the coffees and starting from the soil. Yeah, but let's get first of all, I'd love to understand a little bit more, and we don't need to necessarily talk about it for too long, because I'm sure you've done quite a few podcasts and everyone asks you this question, but I'd love to know how did you start in a coffee? Like why coffee?
Why coffee? That's the same question I asked myself. I was 18 years old, a young guy that didn't know what to do with his life. I finished my secondary school, and I moved to the capital, as everyone in Colombia tend to do, because everyone thinks like big cities have better opportunities for people to find a job or go to university or have a different kind of life. But but that time one of my sisters who are working with Amor Perfecto, she's an accountant, and she started to like told me about like baristas. So when she went to holidays to my hometown, she was telling me about like what a barista was, what they do, and I mean, she said they travel a lot, they work with coffee, they have fun. You should try to be a barista. And I said, no, I don't. I want to make coffee. And at the end, I started as a roaster with Don Luis, with Mr. Luis. Yes. So they were on the spot to roast coffee, and I said, okay, I will take it. So I started as a roaster, because I just push buttons without knowing anything about coffee. That was the first time I met a coffee bean. So I didn't have any experience all my life until 2008 with coffee. So I started like someone was operating a machine, mm-hmm. And for that I started to understand more about coffee. And
Luis has done, I think, incredible things for Colombia, for baristas in Colombia as well. He's obviously had a vision to have Colombian coffees to be exposed in the world in the best possible way, and invested a lot of his time, a lot of his effort into baristas to kind of keep growing their skills, and I'm sure he was a very happy man with this year's results. And yeah, very, very well deserved. So it's nice to see that team, or like he was obviously your, if I can say, mentor, your boss. It's nice to see that you guys have stacked for a very long time, and I guess kept dreaming about this team to bring the trophy to Colombia for the first time ever.
It's been only job. I mean, I haven't worked for another company here in Colombia. I've been working with him for 13 years. So that's kind of my home. And I think he has done a lot of things for me, and that's what he has all my loyalty.
Yeah.
He's more than my like coffee father.
So, so you stumbled across the coffee without necessarily, you know, knowing why you into the coffee. It was just a bit of an accident, as it is for, I guess, quite few of us. And why did you decide to compete? Like, I think your very first competition was cupping competition back in 2008. So just when you started. And what's the main reason you got into this competition arena?
Because I wanted to find a meaning for my mom. Like I wanted to show her that I was doing something with my life, or I wanted to show her that I was able to actually win something, because I didn't went well in the at the school, so I wasn't a good student, and she has to deal with me with a lot of things, and I think I wasn't a good guy with her, because I was a teenager. I didn't understand about so many things. So when I found coffee, I found a opportunity to show her and maybe to pay her for all the things I made wrong. So I found in competitions that I wanted to I, I could be good on something. So I tried with cupping because that was like I think a bit easier than the barista. So I wanted to try first cupping to see how good I was like expressing myself in front of people, because that was my first time doing that, and wasn't that funny for me. I was like shaking a lot. It was really hard for me, and I didn't have enough experience. I think I was like 4 months in coffee, so I didn't know anything. And in 2009, I took the decision to move to baristas.
2009. Okay. So the wow, that's actually very. It. I'm a bit humbled by your answer that you decided to compete to kind of show your mom that you can do, you know, good exemplary things. And I don't think I've ever kind of had someone like everyone says, hey, I want to compete so I can improve my skills, or I can be better because I love coffee, or I can find myself, or I can network. But you know, it it shows your giving nature, I guess. That, you know, I've done some, maybe as a student or as a teenager, some mistakes. Maybe my parents were not so proud of me, and but we can make it up. Yeah, yeah. I remember as a kid, you know, I mean, I'm sure that there's a similar things. Like I, you know, very active myself. Did not like school much too, as you didn't. The best days I had was when I go to my grandma's place, and she would keep on her balcony a lot of food and a lot of eggs and bits and pieces, and I'll actually start throwing eggs at the people, and that was the highlight of my childhood. But yeah, so is there any, I don't know, interesting, funny things as a teenager that you would love to share, like some of the maybe semi naughty things that you have done?
No, I mean my childhood was like kind of trying to I mean to work with her. I mean, all the time since I was 5 years old, I started to work with my mom because she was like a single mom,
Mm-hmm.
and we are five brothers and sisters. I'm the youngest one, and I did not do so many like interesting things more than go to war with her and try to help her in so many things she do. But I think by there's so many things I have to do by being a child. That's what I didn't did well at the school, because I didn't have time to go with friends out, like, or do different things like a normal teenager does. I did so many like serious things from my very beginning.
So
That's
you,
how I started.
so from very beginning, you actually were, you know, working and supporting mom to make sure that you guys can.
Yeah. Just try to work with her. So many. she has so many works to do, and me and my brother, which is kind of my same age, we both work with her in so many things she does.
And what work did you do at that time to help support the family?
She has a place in a food market where we sell a lot of vegetables and food.
Yeah.
So we have to eat every Monday, and from Sunday to Saturday we were working in the school, uh, cleaning the school,
Yeah.
and yeah, and also she has a place where we sell food, like traditional food, outside of the house. So there were always something to do, so
Yeah.
we were busy all the time. So she said, I just need to have you busy. I don't want to give you times to do wrong things. You just need to be focused on, if you work, you have food, where you have everything you need, but you need to work. So everything we need at home, we need to go and find it. So there is no place to have fun. I mean, she didn't say that, but for me, that was the main that was the main problem. There were no time to have fun with the other kids, because
Yeah.
they were always. And I think that makes me get the character I have for things. When I want the things I want, I know I have to work.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, she must be very proud of you, Diego.
Jeez.
Yeah. So tell me, we started competing. You started working with Amor Perfetto. You met your obviously your coffee father, as you mentioned. You started getting a lot of guidance. Your first barista competition was in 2009. And how was that? First time you ever competed in national competition? Like, and by the way, I've witnessed national competition in Colombia. For me, in my opinion, it's one of the most exciting national competitions I've ever seen. There's a lot of crowd, there's a lot of people, energy is very high. At least what I've noticed that in a backstage, all of the baristas are together. They're very friendly, and and in a way, it's to me it felt like a mini WBC, like when whatever I saw in 2015, and it was impressive, and I still remember it. So how was it when you started competing in 2009?
So that first competition taught me that I needed to be more disciplined, and I needed to work harder if I wanted to get to the point I wanted. So I came second on my first competition in Colombia, and when I was there, when there was just one guy and me, and I said, no, I cannot win this competition because I don't know anything about coffee, and I don't want to go to the world just to compete. So I'm not ready for the world. So I was crossing my fingers to do not won that competition in 2009. But from that competition, I understand so many things about competition and about life, about like how life is, and how hard it is. And yeah, that was fine. I mean, the competition and coffee have taught me like so many things. I've been a better person just because of coffee, and I've been some. I mean, I'm another person since I met coffee. And
Why do you think that's the case? Like why? Because I resonate with you as well. That when you start competing, when you're in coffee, like you just somehow discover good thing inside of you.
yeah, that happens to me. I understand, like so many things. I mean, I realized that I was good on something. I realized that I was a person with a lot of disciplines. Um, and because when I was at school, I was scared because I didn't know where to go, what to study, or what to do. when I compete, I understand that that was the things that I wanted to do because I trained hard, because I didn't care about how many hours do I have to work and how many hours do I have to spend training. I just did that because I really enjoyed what I was doing at that moment. So when I saw myself like doing the training for that competition, I said, wow, is that me doing these things, like waking up really early, working more than 10 hours a day, doing so many things that I didn't do when I was a young guy. So that was something that I found interesting for me. That's what keep competing.
Yeah, you kind of found yourself in everything, even though if it's long hours and long time, you enjoyed every moment of it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So the when did you win your first nationals? What year was that?
That was 5 years after, 4 years after.
2014, right?
2014.
2014.
So I competed in 2000, 2009, 10, 11. So 2011 was the hardest one because everyone in Colombia wanted to win that competition
Yeah.
to represent Colombia in Colombia. So that was really hard. And 2014 was the year I won. After I went to London to study English. So in 2013, I competed and I said, I don't want more competitions. I just want to dedicate myself to the coffee, but in another ways, like maybe roasting, maybe cupping, maybe doing some other things, but I don't want to compete more because 2008, 10, 11, and 13, I really wanted to win and it didn't happen. And I just said, I spent so many time training. I spend my time, my free time. I do a lot of things to win, but I can't. So maybe I'm not belongs to this. So I need to move on. So that's why I decided to just kind of leave the competition and move to London for a year to study English. And my idea was to stay there and work with coffee, get better English, and start thinking about other things. Yeah. But when I was there, I just came up with a competition again. So I decided to come back to Amor Perfecto. Because when I went to London, Luis Fernando told me to, I say, I quit, I don't want to be here anymore. And he said, just go, learn English, that I'm sure you are going to come back. And I'm sure you're going to compete again. I say, no. And he said, just go. And we talk in a year. And 1 year after, and I asked him to allow me to compete.
Oh, wow. So that year after in 2014 when you competed, did you have a coach in 2014 or
No, when I won national, no, it
no,
was me.
it was you?
Coach of my wife. I was training my wife for competition. That was her first competition, and that was really funny because I spent my time trying to teach her and trying to get her the routine and everything perfect for her. So when I realized I didn't practice enough for me, but I think like teaching her how to do things in competition helped me a lot.
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah.
pretty funny.
No, it is, and I think you're gonna notice that now after you won competition, and I'm sure people would love to have you around so they can learn from you. But also, I've also noticed that when you go there and teach someone about something, you learn more about whatever you're teaching yourself because. So yeah, it's actually pretty weird or interesting thing when you say it's funny because when you teach you learn. I don't know why, but it's it's what it is. So in 2014, you won and you competed in Seattle. Is that correct?
Yeah, Seattle, 2015, you won.
In 2015. So we haven't met in Seattle. Like I've kind of spoken to so many people, even with a podcast. Like Martin was competing in Seattle as well. So I've
Yeah.
never, I haven't met any
I
of you
think
people, but for you, yeah, I remember looking at the results of the semifinals, and you just missed the semifinals. You were so close, right?
hmm.
And how did it feel? Like you finished number 13.
I think I was 14 because the guy from Guatemala didn't score, and
Yeah.
he came third. That was really hard. That was my first WBC, but I was happy. I cried a little bit to don't be able to go to semifinals, but I was happy because that was my first time in the WBC. I did the things that I was supposed to do. It was a good experience for me, more than a loss. I get a lot of things, like positive things from that competitions.
So what did you learn out of that competition? Like what was like in order for you? You obviously wanted to compete again, but what was that learning curve in that competition that you go, "Oh, I need to do this so you can improve."
I understand that the competition is more about like studying the coffee. You need to be more academic, and you need to understand that WBC is a competition focused on coffee drinkers or consumers, and also understand that I need to spend more time, find a better coffee, and try to work with more people around you, that everyone's around you can support you and give you better ideas of what to do. So
Yeah.
since that competition, I started to work with a psychologic guide and another guy who is teaching me about corporal expression, how to speak, how to do things.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Cool. And I also know that this is the year, like that's when I met, following year when you competed back in the nationals. That's when I met you for the first time, and what I can see, and I've been following you since then because I've always been interested in your work. You worked with Hidenori Izaki for that routine, and then 2 years later, when you won nationals again, when you competed in Korea, you worked with Tim, um, yeah, a great friend of yours and ours as well. Um, and then um, and then obviously now the year when you won, you worked with Federico. So it's you kind of importance of coach. Obviously for you with your behavior, it's really important. But maybe you can share with the listeners why is coach important to have in your team, and what is it that they manage to get best out of you, each one of these coaches, because they've all contributed, I believe, in a certain way to help you, to be where you are today.
I think having a support from someone that has been in competition so many years is really important. I've been in 2015. I worked with Mike June.
My tune as well. Sorry, I missed that. Yep.
Yep. And I've been with Fresh Stone, Mike June, Sonja Grant, Hidenori, Federico, Tim Wendelboy. I mean, those people has been really important people for my career in coffee. I mean, you learn from everyone. So unfortunately, not fortunately for me, that was like kind of easy to be in contact with them
Yeah.
and a lot of information on and get all the experience they have in competition because they have been judges and they have been competitors, and I think it's really important to have that opinion from someone that knows how the competition work, what are the judges looking for, and also to kind of complement the knowledge of coffee.
So what's the most challenging and most exciting thing working with Hidenori Izaki?
His discipline is a really discipline, and he's also a really fun guy. We have a really good experience with him because we went to the farm. here in Colombia, meet the farmer that the coffee I was using by that competition. But yeah, one of the things I learned from him the most is that he's disciplined on everything. And yeah, thanks to Hidenori, I get so many good things that I put on practice every time.
Yeah.
He say one thing to me that is in my mind all the time. He says, if you want to be the champion, you have to be the champion every time, all the times. Not just about on stage. You are a champion backstage. You are a champion at home. You are a champion of everywhere you are. You need to be a good person. You need to be the champion. And I think it helped me a lot.
And the 2017 big year, you won nationals again, Korea, WBC. You decided to work with Tim, and especially after a lot of, as you say, a lot of progression, maybe we can say in a certain way some success, because you finished number 14 in the world for the first time. I think one of the highest placements for Colombia, I believe, correct?
When you... Our first one was 2011.
Okay, there we go. So one of the highest ones. You had a big expectations for Korea, I believe. What was your goal?
That was the hardest one, Korea, because we were like kind of like, okay, we have a lot of experience. We're working with him. He has a lot of knowledge. We roasted the coffee with him, and we kind of with a lot of confidence for that competition.
Yeah.
But yeah, that wasn't a big competition for us. So we were kind of very traditional way for that competition. We were more focused on showing the job or showing the competition or the process at the farm, how we get to the coffee, how we process the coffee, and so on. But unfortunately, that's not what the competition is looking for.
Yeah.
So Tim has been a really good friend of me, and he took me to Norway to train with him, just to live a different experience, more than just being in Colombia, trying Colombian coffees. He took me to Norway to try wines, coffee, food, like kind of open my mind to the world.
Yeah.
And he's a really nice guy. He's my godfather in coffee.
Nice.
But that competition, that competition was really hard for me. So I say, after WBC 2017, everyone was crying. We were so disappointed, and I said no more. That was everything for me.
So what did you place, Diego? Sorry, what did you finish that year? What was your position?
25 or 24.
Yeah. So you kind of were thinking of not competing anymore that year, from that moment.
I promised myself, I promised to Teen, I promised to everyone to stop competing. And also Teen told me that just stop wasting your time, wasting your money. Just try to be focused on another things. You're a good barista. Just try to do another thing rather than just spending your time practicing making coffee without sense. And I went to Australia.
Okay.
That was really hard.
As you mentioned, you went to Australia with your fiance at the time, but now wife. You have a beautiful daughter. How old is she?
She's 2.5.
She's 2.5 now. So while you were in Australia, you were not thinking of competition at all, correct? Like it was no.
No, I just wanted to forget about competition, but I don't know. The only things I could do in Australia was coffee. Yeah. So it was really hard. I mean, the time in Australia, I think, has been the hardest time of my career, because I was two times national barista champion in Colombia, and I came to Australia and started to try to find a job. But that was easy for me being in Colombia. and making coffee. That was easy. But when they asked me for like legal papers, and I said no, I have a tourist visa, so they said no, thank you. That was hard. That was really hard, and I ended up working in a small. It wasn't a cafe. It was a store that sells candies and so many other things like breads and different stuff. Coffee was just on the corner, and that was nothing special. And they say that's the job. If you wanna take it, just take it. And it was really hard for me. Just coming from competitions, coming from like specialty coffee, doing so many things with coffee, and in a place that don't care about the quality, don't care about coffee, and it was really hard. And that place end up with really high quality coffee.
After
So
you
at the end,
time working
at,
with them, right?
yeah, at the end they started to understand what coffee was. They started to clean the grinder, the machine. The people started to go there for coffee. It was it was really funny. And then I found another job with in a bigger cafe. But it was nice. I learned a lot. I learned a lot from coffee in Australia because I tried so many cafes, so many coffees from a different part of the world, and I have the experience of working in a bar in Australia, and that was like a takeaway bar. It was like 8-10 kilos a day.
Yeah.
It was coffee. It was funny. It was really funny, and I get a lot. I learned a lot.
So what are the main, maybe, I don't know, top 2-3 things that you have learned in Australia that have possibly contributed to help you to be stronger and better competitor?
English.
Mm-hmm.
I got more English. I got like more barista skills, like kind of be more like technical or more like work faster.
Yeah.
And um, hospitality.
Hospitality. Okay. Yeah.
You
Wow.
need a lot. Yeah, and everyone is talking about hospitality in Australia, and people like to talk a lot
Yeah.
when they buy coffee, and that's a good thing I got from Australia.
Yeah, well, that actually, now looking at your routine, like what you've done in Milan, I was very impressed how you were handling your portafilters and how you were behaving behind the machine. It looked flawless. It was beautiful to watch, especially like how you distributing the coffees and pouring coffee in tins as well. And yeah, it looked like you some sort of doing a dance, or rather than just making a coffee as well. So it was nice to kind of see that with that, and also like serving the coffees and preparing the espressos while you're technically working and connecting with the judges. Not easy to do. I think that espresso course that you've made, which we can talk about later on as well, but it's probably one of the most complex, one of the most intense espresso courses I've ever seen. Yet you have delivered that with very easy and very calm and very very under control to make everyone feel, this is enjoyable. I actually want to be on a judge's table and actually I want to drink these coffees and be part of that experience. So, and yeah, and you can see that thing does not happen by accident. It's 10 years of hard work. It's not only one routine, but all of these sacrifices you have done along the way to be where you are. But I do know, like, one day I don't know whether it was 2018 or 19, but you sent me a text and or WhatsApp or Instagram message and said, "Hey Sash, I'm looking to compete again." And obviously you asked some questions about the NCD or etc. But I was so happy to actually hear that you want to compete. And I think so. What made you decide to go again after so many uncomfortable moments, and even your friends or your family and everyone saying, "Hey mate, stop, don't do this anymore, like this is not good for you." There was something internally that said, "Yep, I'll give it a go." Like, what was it? What happened?
I think it's more like passion or love to the coffee. And I mean, that was a really hard decision because we have Sophia in Australia. She was just 4 months old, and we have kind of a good lifestyle in Australia. I mean, we work a lot, but we live in a good place. Everything was like kind of calm, and like it was much different than living in Colombia. I mean, you have been in Colombia a couple of times, and you know, life here is kind of like difficult. You need to have a really good job to have kind of like decent life. In Australia, we have more than we needed. We have job, we have Sophia. Every time, everyone's wants like having a good time. We have time at night to spend with the family. It was good to live in Australia. It was really nice. So we were like more than happy living there. And when I talked to my wife to come back to compete, that was a big decision because she say, "You sure? Are you gonna? I mean, you're gonna compete again? You ready for that? That's the thing you wanna do." So she say that is not just you. So just count that it's me and Sofia on the way as well. So if we go to Colombia, we have to go together. Just it's not just you just going around with coffee. Just you just need to understand there is a family behind you. And that was a really big decision for me. And thanks God we have the support of Luis with Amor Perfecto, and we have my godfather and my
Yeah.
my parents. So they were supporting us. They said, just come, just compete. You can start working at the farm. We had this project. We can do this together. And what makes me take the decision was like more like the passion I have for coffee, and I wanted to make sense of the 10 years I was spending
Yeah.
trying to. So I wasn't happy to end on the 25 place in Korea. So
Yeah.
I wanted to just to try to do better, but I
So,
have the respect with
so
my
Diego,
family.
yeah, at the time when you decided to compete, did you think that this is going to be my last one? After that, no more, or you were not really thinking that far ahead?
When I came to Colombia, I said that's my last. That
Okay.
was my last national. And when I compete in the world, I said that's my last one. Doesn't matter what happened.
Yeah.
My last one. So I think when I went to finals, that was something that helped me a lot. So I went to finals just thinking about I'm more than happy. There's nothing to lose for me.
Yeah. Celebrate. Yeah. So you won nationals. I remember you with your nationals you used Eugeniotis for milk and you used another coffee for espresso. Is that correct?
Yeah, I use a geisha
Yeah.
from Kindi, and I use Eugeniodes for milk,
Yeah.
and I use a signature.
Yeah. And after you won nationals, you kind of thought, hey, we need a team. How did you come across with Federico? Like, what made you decide to work with Federico, and how was that relationship, you and Federico, for and preparing together for WBC?
I worked with Federico for 1 week for nationals.
Mm-hmm.
So Federico has been working with Amor Perfetto since 2014, I think. So
Yeah.
he was training Nicolas, who is a guy that worked for Amor Perfetto, and he was working with another guys in Amor Perfetto as well. And I met him at that time. And after Korea, Team Wonderboy told me to work with someone that was into the competition more than just working with someone that worked with coffee.
Mm-hmm.
You need to work with someone that understands what the competition is about. You need to work with someone that know how the rules are designed, how to play with the rules, how to do things more than just making coffee. And that's why we took the decision to work with him because of his experience in WBC.
Okay. And the between winning nationals to competing in the worlds. You were supposed to come to Melbourne to compete in WBC. That obviously did not happen due to the COVID. And
Thanks God it didn't happen.
why is that?
It's really hard. It's really hard. I mean, Australia is really strong in espresso, and I think that's not a good place to compete. The level is really.
Yeah, fair enough. And I'd love to know a little bit more about your training schedules. Like when you finished nationals, how long did you train? How many months? How many hours per day? And what did a typical day of Diego look like in your preparation process?
After the nationals, that was October 19, 2019, and then we started in February 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So we do a session with Federico for a week. Then the COVID situation appeared, and so we stopped that situation. We stopped the training. So I moved to the farm, and I spent like 1.5 years working at the farm without practice anything, because I was at the farm and all the machines and all the things were located in Bogota. So the only things I did when I was there, just reading, trying to think about competition, try to like put the routine on my mind, because there were no way to do it. So just trying to do as much as I can from the farm. When they say the competition was going to be in Greece, I started to like prepare myself, but then they canceled it. And then when they say it was in Italy, it was like 3 months before.
Yep.
So in August, beginning of August, we moved to Bogota again with my wife and my daughter. So we rent an apartment nearby the training room, and I spent like 10-11 hours a day, almost for the 3 months.
For 3 months. Wow.
Yeah, at the point, Wise asked me to just kind of stop. So one day she was like kind of out of control, and she said, "Okay, just stop. We need you here. We need you at home. Sophia needs you. Just try to spend just one day with us." Because I was on my mind, I need to be there all the time. I need to be there, and I was kind of getting crazy about being on the training room all the time. Because when I was I felt that I was losing time.
So 3 months, 10 hours a day on average before WBC.
Yep. Yeah, kind of.
That's impressive. And now when it comes down to routine, like I'm very interested. I mean your routine is one of the routines that we will remember for a long time, and it's as I mentioned again, especially that espresso course delivery. Like how did you start building the routine? Like what was how did you come up with that, or all of that? Was that the big grand idea that was going, oh, we're going to do this, so it over time it was slowly building and building and building? I'm really interested to find out.
It took us a long time, because we have the coffee, and we have like a kind of concept from the nationals. Yeah. So we want to keep that concept, but when we tasted Eugenioides, it was a different Eugenioides that we use for nationals. When we got the rules for 2021, that was a rule that allow us to do different things. So we kind of think about to another concept. So we started with the coffee. We built the routine, like kind of the movements, and then we try to put a concept into that routine. So first I practice all the steps one by one. What to do first, what second, like 15-minute steps, and then we started to think about how to do how to introduce the concept on that routine
Yeah.
according to rules and according to the coffee we were using.
Yeah. Yeah, nice. So you obviously allowed by tasting coffee, getting to know the coffee, that inspired you to see how these very complex flavors, as we know that Yuji has, and very unique flavors, and not only flavors, but insane texture, or tactile balance, how to kind of connect that with the judges, because it's obviously very new coffee, very different coffee. Many people, when they taste it for the first time, they go, "Oh my God, is this coffee?" Like they. So the goal, obviously, with your routine is to use the sensory, what we hear, what we see, what we feel, to make judges as familiar with the coffee as possible, so it's not as foreign, I guess, right?
Yeah, that was the idea with the espresso. I mean, with the originalities, we found a coffee that was easy for everyone to drink. So the coffee give us the confidence. Just just leave the judges to enjoy it, because we got the confidence that they were fine everything we talked to them. So that was a coffee that allowed everyone to have a like a personal experience. So that's one thing we wanted. That's something that we wanted to do. That's why we create the space for everyone. So we just mm, put the judges on the case and leave them for 45 seconds to enjoy something that was really beautiful to drink.
Yeah.
So they were in another planet drinking an espresso,
Yeah.
just thinking about the drink they were enjoying.
That's awesome. Tell me, Diego, what was the biggest challenge in Milan for you? The things that was made you most uncomfortable? Were there the points that you were doubting yourself, or maybe some old habits? What was it?
The freezer,
Ah,
find a freeze
yeah,
ingredients. And, we spend the whole day trying to find a way how to freeze the funnels, and I mean, to do not have the grinder to taste espresso was really hard for us. So I went to Simonelli on the 21s to try the espresso, but that the grinder was the same one that I used in the first round. It's really hard because we just tasted coffee once before we went to the competition. So also to find ingredients, to find the milk, we just had 2 days to do all those things. Just
yeah.
try the coffee, find the milk, find the ingredients. Thanks God we found everything we needed. So it was really a bit stressful to see you guys training with Sanremo, having your own grinder, having your own milk. It was a bit stressful for me.
Yeah, I remember. I remember Federico sending me a text only 2 days before competition. He goes, "Oh, mate, where can we buy a freezer?" I'm thinking, "Oh my God, like now you're looking for freezer only 2 days before comp?" And and of course, like we've tried to, we send some shops or directions where we bought our freezers. But I was a little bit surprised, to be honest, that only 2 days before competition, like all of these things you need to sort out in such a short time. It's it's very challenging, and I think, like, maybe for not as experienced competitor, that would be, before even going on a stage, it would be game over, because it's a very stressful to compete within itself. But to look for milk, to find the best milk 2 days before comp, that's a huge task. To be able to sleep during the night and knowing, hey, I'm gonna actually find the freezer maybe tomorrow, or maybe I will not. Like that's like, wow, what's gonna happen? I'm sure you didn't sleep for these 2 days. Thirdly, not to be able to taste your coffee, like, maybe, and not to have a grinder so you can actually dial in your coffee, you taste it, you age it. Yeah, I think you guys, it's not a miracle. It's obviously huge credit to you for being calm, being yourself. Because I watched you in the first round, and you know, it was the routine that, well, yep, cool. You know, Diego's gonna make finals. Like he was very polished, was very neat. I'm sure there were, you know, things that you have done in the meantime to improve for semifinals and the finals, but and maybe, you know, maybe that kind of worked in a benefit, because every round you were more and more and more comfortable with yourself, because it was becoming a routine as opposed to doing the same thing over and over again, and maybe it's not as challenging, and maybe judges don't feel the energy. But I feel that every round you were bringing more and more energy to on the stage to all of us, and I'm sure to judges as well. So was the first round challenging for you? Like kind of when you managed to organize coffee, you tasted the coffees, milk was there. Like how was that?
Yeah,
Doing
I mean, first thing was to travel with like kind of 10 luggage, like big luggage, with only like just one person and me, just two people carrying so much stuff, and that was really hard. But the milk we found, I mean, it was kind of easy for us because there was a really good quality of milk in Italy. So thanks to the Eugene audit, that is a really good guy that behavior with a good behavior. I mean, he behaved really good in Italy. And then
yeah,
when we tasted the coffee there, I was wow. I mean, we got the best coffee in Italy since we've been trying the Eugene audits here in Colombia. When we cup the coffee, we taste the coffee in Milan. Was wow, that's the coffee we had
yeah,
because it was showing his full potential in there, and that makes us feel a lot of confidence with the coffee. And yeah, we have to challenge with a lot of things, but coffee was one of the things that said to us, "Don't worry, we are in a good way."
yeah. So I've noticed your recipe was, you know, a little bit different than other competitors that used notice. Your temperature on the machine was 91 degrees, and you've tried 92, possibly you've tried 93. What was the main difference in the taste between 91 degrees to like standard 93.4, 93.6?
So we I mean, we were more focused on roasting the coffee in a different ways. So we kind of tried to have a standard recipe because we did not have a much coffee. We have a not too much coffee, so we didn't have the chance to play too much with the coffee here in Colombia. So we play more with different roast and then try to do then on the same recipe. We tried with 93, 96, but I think it was because here in Bogota we have more pressure and it did not work well for us.
Yep.
So we always work with less than 20, 90 to 91 degrees.
Yeah, it makes sense. I remember when I was in Bogota, and boiling point is what, 89 or 90 degrees in Bogota, boiling. Or so yeah, but I also feel that obviously it worked because Eugene Oris is the coffee that's obviously beautiful coffee, complex coffee. Anaerobic Eugene Oris I find when we are brewing it or when we are extracting a lot, or when we're brewing at a higher temperature, it's easier to get tannins, maybe kind of black tea or cacao nibbiness. But by running the shots the way you run at a lower temperature, 91 degrees, like you sort of tend to reduce these tannins quite a bit, and you know, bring out more fruit forward characters like you did, like with, you know, with your papaya notes and your tropical notes and your lovely, you know, citrus characters.
We kind of have two profiles. The one that we use more coffee, and then we found a lot of malt, cacao nibs, and kind of like more like strong browns flavors on. And then we have the other one with more like kind of papaya, passion fruits, and that kind of flavors. and that was more interesting for us to choose the one with more flavors, and I try to complement the other ones with destruction.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember talking to Federico in the semifinals. You took a bit of gamble. You've taken the coffee that was not your possibly your favorite espresso profile. So when you come to the finals, you can use your more favorite coffee, which is not easy to do, because as a competitor you want to give you 100% every round so you can hopefully make it to the finals. But I think it was a great strategy from you and your team, because you felt confident that, hey, this is good enough for the finals, and then when the finals come in, you're gonna show your best, and best in everything. And obviously it's been, even when listeners are, if they look at your scores, from the first round and second round to the finals, it's not an accident. It's something that you and Federico and your team have kind of had your strategy to kind of be the best you can possibly on the most important day, which is really cool. Yeah. But I obviously finals came. You've done unbelievable routine. Announcement started. Number 6, number 5, number 4. How did you feel? When you know that you're not number 6 or you're not number 5. What was going in your head at that time?
I just I don't want to hear my name. So when you are in semifinals, you want to hear your name, but when you are in finals, you don't want to hear your name. So
So when they announced number 4, uh, Amy as a number 4 in the world, what were you thinking then? Because you're top 3 in the world. It's huge to be now top 3.
And as I told you, I mean, being in the finals was like kind of a dream for me. Being part of those 6 people in the world was kind of like, okay, I'm done. I did what I wanted to do. So anything that happens on that moment, obviously everyone wants to win, but just being there, that was like kind of big achievement for me. So yeah, I started to dream more than I wanted. So when they say number 4, I realized that I have a big chance to win.
Yeah.
So I just started to dream again.
Yeah. And then there's you know Kelly announced number 3. What's
that makes me that
what's
makes me
happening then?
that was like, oh god, that was kind of like I was closer. I was big closer to the first place. And so to be honest, I didn't watch any presentation, so I didn't know how good was the lady from the US. So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. That was a big surprise for me.
And when you were announced as a winner, um, how was that feeling?
I just remember to to have the feeling to cry, but I couldn't. And I just remember that I have like kind of so many. I mean, I just remember all the competitions I have been, all the things I did to be there, and I see that I was able to win the competition and say, okay, everything was like worth.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved when you took your flag, when you've done your speech, that this is for Colombia, it's for your people, it's for your family. It was very very emotional, like very very short maybe speech, but very very emotional, very powerful, and yeah, very very inspiring. So, but yeah, I'm sure that, and I do remember when I also in 2015, in that moment so many things go through your head, like in similar like yours, from the beginning and the challenges. And I'm sure in your case, the reason you started competing is to make your mom proud, as you said, number 1. But then you had so many people in your life that have helped you and supported you. As you say, your coffee father and Luis, your godfather, Tim, and so many other coaches. Your family, your wife, Sophia, your girl. Colombia. Being able to bring the trophy back to Colombia. It's very inspiring, Diego, what you've done. It's inspiring on so many levels. I'm sure that people have listened to this podcast. They can sort of learn, hey, follow your passion, as you mentioned, because it's easy to quit when it's challenging, and a lot of people quit. But in 2015, you made a great progress. You finished number 14. And then there was that biggest challenge that you had in 2017 that you go, wow, you're actually going backwards. Being in Melbourne in that little corner store, and there's no one wants to even drink coffee or taste coffee, but you've turned that little corner store to be this amazing coffee place where people started going in the coffee as well, and then suddenly something awakening in you and say, hey, I want to do it again. It's super inspiring. But even what you mentioned is the moment that competition was announced that, hey, Milan is happening, bam, straight away, go to Colombia, practice 10 hours a day, and give your discipline and dedication 100%. So it's now that of course, I knew your story. I did not know it to this detail, but I was so happy to see you winning. And but now that a lot of people know your story, it's not surprised that you won. Of course, you would win. You made so many sacrifices from the moment you were 5 or 6 or 7 years old, and it's all I can say is we're very thankful to have you as ambassador. And maybe if there is any advice for new competitors or competitors that you would like to share, it would be nice. Some wise words from you to sort of finish off this great chat and this beautiful podcast. So is there anything else you'd like to share to anyone that's willing to compete or that's been competing?
So I just want to say, just follow your passion, follow your dreams, and sometimes it's easier to drink, but what is difficult is to make the dreams come true. So just if you wanna do something, just try to do your best to achieve what you want to do, and just doesn't matter what you do, just try to be the best. And when I say try to be the best, is like do everything that you can do for your dreams, but don't forget that there's so many people around you. It's not about you. It's about so many people that depends on your dreams or depends on your work. Just follow your passion, follow your love. If you like coffee or doesn't matter what you do, just do it with love and passion.
That's beautiful. I'm not gonna talk too much after this. All I can say is thank you for being a wonderful guest, and I'm sure listeners enjoyed it. And for anyone that's been listening, season 2, World Coffee Event Season, remember this words from Diego. So keep following your dream and keep chasing whatever it is. So thank you for being part of it, and I'm sure I will catch up with all of you sometime soon. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Thank you, Sasa. Bye.